Thank you for joining us on Strictly Business. Now, it's no secret that COVID-19 has affected everything in our lives, and business included. But then again, when you look at what it has done on the positive end, if I specify it to Zambia, it's given a boost to online trading, online businesses. But then because of this traffic, the fraud people are also jumping onto it, because it is now something that they can use. When you're doing your online shopping, what are you going to concentrate on? Or how are you going to know that what you are going to buy is going to reach your doorsteps? And then we also talk about the IMF deal, as well as appreciation of the Kwacha, the relationship between the two. What impact does this have on one and the other? These and more items is what we have on Strictly Business. This is Strictly Business. We appreciate your company. My name is Judyngulube. I was talking about online shopping, how fraudulent issues are going on, how we're going to make sure that when you're doing your trading online, you are not duped. But even better, or even looking at the other things, because there's the buyer and the seller when it comes to trade. What effect is it having on businesses online? I'm going to be interacting with Walusungu, an online journalist, to just find out exactly how, online fraud is panning out in our country. Walusungu, how are you?
I'm very thanks. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Maybe just to lay a base, when we talk about online trading, online shopping, what exactly are we looking at? What are our parameters when we talk about that?
Okay, thanks. Online, basically, it's an activity or action of buying products and services over internet. Or in other language, we would say this is a process of buying goods and services from merchants over the internet.
This is not a trend that was very common if you even look back 5 years ago in Zambia. But when you look at where we're at as a country in regards to online shopping, online trading, what percentage would you give it?
I would say during lockdown, at least I can see a bit we're moving at least at the first rate because of being locked down. So people are slightly changing or shifting to online, doing a way of buying things.
Okay. Which areas are mostly hype when we talk about online shopping? Because we've got the product side of it, the physical products that you can purchase, and then we have the service end of it.
If I may take you back, okay, let me put it in this way. But on my side, I would put it online than physical, in the sense that the online shopping has never been an easy thing. It will, more especially in developing countries like USA, where everything is digital. Mm-hmm. So most people are prone to fraud, actually.
Okay.
So like, come again?
All right. No, I was agreeing with you. I was listening.
Yes. I was saying like where everything is digital, so that's where you find hackers and all those stuff, like using Amazon, like they're using identity theft, credit card, and ethical debt collection, so to say. So in that shift, I think online is a bit of being targeted too.
Okay, I know I'll be showing some pictures with just to do some illustration in regards to online shopping. When you look at those pictures, they make it seem very easy, and issues of trust also come in when we're looking at those who are buying and those who are selling. It's a gain for both. If you're the buyer, obviously you get the product and satisfaction. But for the businesses that are online, which are the ones that are most prone to fraud? When I gave the example of, we have those that are product-based, physical products, and service-based. Which one of these, when you look at Zambia?
In a Zambian angle, I would say these where you can like in an online shopping, you can reach more customers and cheaply than customers experiencing the tangible of product, or there is that human touch factor, you see.
Okay.
So yes, so online issue, we are prone actually, most especially where in developing countries like Zambia or Africa, so to say.
All right. As we conclude our conversation, we're in the festive season, we're in the festive period. There's a lot of this that's going to be going on, especially that, there's the fourth wave of COVID now. To what extent does online fraud affect online businesses as well as just online shopping for the person who's buying?
There is what we call the pros and cons. So people normally fail to follow those steps actually. So they're being at risk actually. So where issues of online issues, it's been hectic. But otherwise, on my side, I think it might be a good idea, and we are getting there.
All right. Thank you so much, Walusungu. Appreciate.
Thank you so much too.
This is Strictly Business. Let's get into issues of the money markets, and then we will be chatting with, Mubamba, who I spoke to earlier on Kwacha Good Morning Zambia. We were talking the relationship between the IMF deal, the impact that it has on our Kwacha, because the appreciation of the Kwacha, we see 16 Kwacha today, 15 Kwacha the next day. How is this bouncing around going to affect businesses? See this and join me on the other side.
The Kwacha or the local unit appreciates in circumstances that a kind of guarantee or give a likelihood that there will be more foreign exchange supply onto the market. So that those agreements, of course, provide that. And then we've seen also the central bank has a role to stabilize, and whenever they inject foreign currency into the market, it reduces the demand. More demand is met, and there's an appreciation of the Kwacha.
When you talk about the appreciation, do we see this trend continuing? From your perspective,
we are likely to see it continuing on the basis of what I've referred to, increased supply onto the market by the central bank. We've also seen the expectation from the IMF agreements. I think what we witnessed was a staff level agreement, but I'm sure it is usually a formality that it will actually be approved by the board at the IMF. And then the monies should start to flow, and then we have more foreign exchange. So that if that happens, I'm sure it's going to happen, then we are likely to see an appreciation. There are, of course, a number of other factors involved. There is increased production in the mines. We are now talking about the long term, where the plan, according to the budget for 2022, there is an intention to increase production over 5 years. I think it is to double it. Once that happens and we begin to see more exports, with the current price, if also it continues to go up, we are around $9,500 per ton, whereas in April it was around $4,700. So that's about double. If it continues like that, then we are likely to have more cash inflows in terms of foreign currency. Then we may see this trend continuing. But of course, in matters of this nature, there are always other factors coming in. For instance, we have the COVID situation may hamper that. We also have what may look like a drought situation, at least for the past 2 weeks. We got soaked a few weeks ago. Now we are complaining about the heat. So there are some unpredictable issues that may come in. But all things being equal, to use an expression, we are likely to see a further appreciation. But the intention or desirable position would be for it to stabilize. When
it stabilizes, what impact will this have on the on the business world? Is it better that it's doing this, or we have it like that, whichever way it's going to fall on?
it is bad that it is fluctuating.
Even if it's gaining?
Well, gaining means that the direction generally is okay, but the fluctuation does not help much for the business community, because if we are an import-oriented economy, though in recent times we've balanced the trade, we are doing better, but we are generally an import-oriented economy, so most of the commodities are imported. Now, to import those goods, we need to have the foreign exchange in order for us to buy. Now, if you are in business and you want to get, say, laptops from Dubai, for instance, you will need to change that money into US dollar, for instance. So when you do that at a higher price today, for instance, at 16, then by the time those goods are coming in, the rate would have changed if it has gone up. It means that what you spent that time will be the cost at which you can put it will be higher.
But with that said, how then should the business people respond to this in such a situation?
The business should respond with caution, but of course there are issues that are beyond the control. But they should respond with caution. But definitely the pricing model is such that you have to consider the cost. I think any pricing model.
All right, that is Mubamba Sichilongo is just giving us a breakdown of the correlation on issues of, the appreciation of the Kwacha, how all the economic factors, that is fiscal and issues to do with key economic factors, are going to affect the money market. He was speaking to us on ZNBC TV1's Kwacha Good Morning Zambia, the flagship breakfast show. Now you're watching Strictly Business. Thank you so much for still staying with us. Let's give you a snippet of what is to come still.
The new Insurance Act gives a provision that all insurance companies should have an actuary within their business.
I think for us, our emphasis was to come up with a regulatory system, because what has affected our country is not having the right regulations in place.
All right, so that is still to come. You're still watching Strictly Business, and let's get into our corporate news. Our corporate news is featuring Zambian breweries as well as ZRA. Starting through with the Zambian breweries, over 30,000 households have embraced in the Zambian Breweries PLC's agriculture, procurement and supply chain, which now stands at 40,000 metric tons of cassava, barley, sorghum per annum. In a statement issued recently, the company corporate affairs director, Ezekiel Sekele, said that in the last decade, Zambia's largest brewer has increased local sourcing of its agriculture ingredients from 30% in the past to over 80%, which is now. He said that they value addition, and in the agriculture sector, the local sourcing of this is an essential ingredient. And some of the ingredients that they're using are maize, barley, sorghum, cassava throughout the country. He also added that most of these farmers are small-scale and medium-sized entrepreneurs. He also added that this year, the brewers' agriculture procurement increased to around 40,000 tons, involving barley, cassava, maize, sorghum, benefiting over 30,000 households and creating more than 80,000 jobs. Very impressive, Zambrew. Keep up the good work. Now we go to ZRA, and still in our corporate news. The Zambia Revenue Authority last month released 1.3 billion for value-added tax, which are the refunds in which it continues efforts to dismantle a 37 billion Kwacha backlog. As of September this year, the authority had about 3,000 audited pending refunds below 5 million Kwacha for 744 taxpayers, mainly small and medium enterprises. It is currently implementing a more accurate, accountable, transparency and predictable refund mechanism to stimulate growth in the business sector. In October this year, ZRA made a payment of 136 million towards dismantling the 37 billion Kwacha debt. And the 1.3 billion Kwacha paid last month surpassed the monthly allocation of 850 million. ZRA Corporate Communications Manager Topsy Sikalinda said in a statement recently that the decision to refund higher figures last month was meant to clear the backlog of audited refunds for the SMEs. He also added that the refunds for the SMEs have been outstanding since 2013. He also said that in the payments for the months of October and November, the authority cleared most of the backlog on a first-in, first-out basis, as audited refunds below 5 million Kwacha from 2013 to 2019. Mr. Sikalinda said that the tax refunds are projected to rekindle microeconomic activity at the local level. Those are some of the stories that are making up our corporate news. Now, still in issues of the corporates, the insurers did have an annual general meeting, which this conference actually attracted a lot of players, various players in the insurance world. Talking about insurance, they have introduced an insurance act, which most of the players are saying that it will have an impact that will give them the amplitude as well as the strength to make sure that insurance is very viable on the end of, firstly, the insurer and the person who is benefiting. But most of all, they are looking at how insurance is going to add to Zambia's economic growth projects. Listen to this.
The new act really has a lot of opportunities, and you know, when you're a risk taker, in this instance, I think as KlaptonRe, we are fortunate that we're coming at a time when this new act is coming into play, of course, coming with a lot of opportunities, such as the exhausting of local market. So it means that before an insurance company can seed a business out there or can take premiums out there, they first need to exhaust local capacity. That's very important. Of course, insurance is premised on this principle of spreading risk. All right, right from the end user transfers to another party. The insurer, they retain what they can retain and then cede to a reinsurer. The chain goes on and on. So what is important here is really without impinging the principle or the mechanisms of insurance. Yes, the spreading of risk should be there. Otherwise, if we don't spread risk, then it stops being insurance. But I think it's the manner in which the spreading of risk is concerned. So what we're saying, what the law is, in fact, the spirit of the law is to promote local growth.
The new Insurance Act gives a provision that all insurance companies should have an actuary within their business. So this is a shift from just life insurance companies having actuaries to as well as general insurance companies. General insurance companies haven't really worked with actuaries before, so they're not really sure what value actuaries bring. So that's what we're trying to shed some light on during the presentation, that within the general insurance space, actuaries can add this value. In particular, we can use our analysis and our actuarial techniques to ensure that they're holding the right amount of capital on their balance sheet. Right, so in most cases they'll be able to release some of the capital and use this capital to chase new opportunities, invest in new products, etc., and eventually increase their profitability.
I think for us our emphasis was to come up with a regulatory system, because what has affected our country is not having the right regulations in place. So a regulatory system that guides the insurance sector to be able to properly benefit from the opportunities that are there. The next aspect of emphasis for us is to ensure that we invest in the soft and hard infrastructure, because when we have proper infrastructure for trade facilitation, it enables the insurers to carry out their work properly. And the last one, of course, is investing in the human capital. we need to have the right skills and the right people in place. Insurers that will understand what they are supposed to do. Insurers that will be determined to go out there and be able to position Zambia to benefit properly from the Continental Free Trade Area.
Various players in the insurance market there. Very interesting to see, the Ministry of Commerce also coming on board to make sure that there are those synergies that will loop the insurers, the insurance players, also actuaries coming onto the market to also just add value to the insurance world. And that is all in the purpose of the theme that they were running with, what the insurance world has to add to make sure that there's economic growth and projected economic growth that is being talked about there. And of course, something that also came up is issues of money back guarantees and how the insurance world should also make sure that it's attractive to some of their clients and the would-be clients, because if you bring it back to a country like Zambia, I mean, we're in Africa, and when one person just talks about insurance, it's almost like a taboo and they take it to another level. So some of the things that the insurance world has to work on, and it's very good that the Insurance Act has come to play. All right, and of course, when you look at Zambia and the space that it is right now, entrepreneurship is growing. There's a new ministry that is looking at, growing the SMEs, the businesses that are going to make sure that they're insuring not only their equipment, but they're also insuring their capital and some of their profits as well. Some of those that are going to benefit not only the business, but obviously the outcome. And if you make it more attractive for, the SME, and the SME is also in levels. It also gets to a person where you go as far as the market, because some time back we also saw that the market in Lusaka here got burnt, and those are some of the places that would need insurance that the everyday person, or is it the entrepreneur who is at that level, doesn't really come across. But how is the insurance reaching these people? How are they passing their message to make sure that the person who is, for example, what we're talking about at the market level can also know that this is a business that is worth insuring, or some of the dangers that can happen to my business are this. Where can I fall back on? What can I look at? So a lot of discussions took place in this two-day conference, and as I said, very interesting to see so many players, because they also brought in the issues of the actuaries who are just not very out on the Zambian market. Also, the issue of reinsurance was talked about, who is now the umbrella, the insurance company of the insurers, to make sure that insurance does just play its bit in economic growth, not only offering that service, but also adding to Zambia's economic growth. Earlier on, you did see me talking to Mubamba Sichilongo, who was talking about the appreciation of the Kwacha. But where are we at right now? The Kwacha has gained a bit. Let's have a look at what it looks at right now, appreciating what it looks like. That is the money markets as they stand today. All right, so we are looking at the US dollar. They're buying at just above 16 kwacha and selling at 16 kwacha 212 ingwe. And then we have the Great British Pound, which is 21 kwacha 5,610 ingwe, and also selling at just over 21 kwacha. Then you go to the euro. That is what it looks like, 18 kwacha, not really halfway through, but then that's it. And then selling at 18 kwacha as well. Then we get to the last one there. That is what it looks like on your screens, our money market. All right, so that's a wrap as the end. That's what our day looks like by the end of today in regards to the money market and how the kwacha just is panning out in regards to other foreign convertibles. Well, when the IMF deal comes through, appreciation of the kwacha is what we are going to see. And if it's at 16 kwacha right now, we do have speculations of how far it can go and how that IMF deal is going to give the kwacha some power. And of course, the buying and selling international-wise in terms of imports and exports is also something that is going to come to the fore. Otherwise, this is all we had for you on Strictly Business. We've talked online shopping, We have talked about the IMF deal. We have seen how the appreciation of the Kwacha is going to pan out, and we went into the insurance world and we looked at how the Act number 38 is going to give the insurance world more teeth and more strength. This is all we had for you on Strictly Business. Join me next week at the same time. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Judyngulube.